The Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub and Grill. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. Coach Sawyer, congratulations on a big win this weekend. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. Anytime you go up to the cities and on a long day trip like that, maybe we left at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. We had breakfast and rolled, and to play really well and come back home is a lot of fun. And so overall, great weekend for the Warriors.
Before we get to the highlights and before we talk about the game, I want to talk about a picture that was posted on Facebook of Alan May, one of your wide receivers. After the game was all over, he went and played football with some kids that went up to him and asked, "Hey, can you play football with us?" Talk about the character of your team and that sort of thing.
Well, Justin, the comment I made on that Facebook post was program at work, and I think our players understand that the body of work that we do is not just on the football field, but it's throughout the community and before games, after games. If we can take 2 minutes or 10 minutes with a group of kids or older people or whomever that want to spend time with us, so. We're going to do that. It's just building character within our own players and also the character of our program. So we want to be known as a program that takes care of those who take care of us, and I think that's really true. And Alan May is one of those guys that demonstrated that on Saturday.
Even on the road.
Even on the road, doesn't matter to us.
All right, let's take a look at the highlights of the game as Winona State came away with a 51-7 win over Concordia St. Paul.
We had a lot of highlights, so that was kind of fun. But the first one here was Andrew Spencer, who forced a fumble on their first drive. They kind of took the ball down the field and started moving it, and all of a sudden we had a lot of pressure. And of course, there's Colin Corcoran had his big sack for us. He didn't play a lot in the game, about 30 snaps, but he's healthy now. We got him through the game, and as you can see, another sack there by Nakai Poyser. And then we got off to the run. That's Alan May, and he and Josh and Cam, they all played well. In fact, Dylan Alferts and Fritz Rock also played well. So really a good day for our receivers. As you see this Josh's touchdown, 7-yard touchdown. We snuck it in past the cone at the end. Kyle Kuhn, this was tipped about 3 times, bounced off the referee's head, and Kyle Kuhn came up with it. So another big turnover. I think they had 5 on the day, so that was huge for our defense. That's the big catch by Fritz Rock. He graduated from the University of Illinois a couple years ago and still had a year of eligibility. And here's Winona's own Eric Berth, got in the end zone a couple times for us on Saturday, and when he's healthy, he's a horse to bring down. Andrew Spencer again, he's a big playmaker, knocks the ball around, sacks guys, runs around, and does a great job for us. And that defensive front played much better this week. That's Jeff Brown. We've talked about him. He's been on the show, and he's just an outstanding player for us. And then Paul Preston doing his thing. Went over 100 yards again, had a touchdown, and that was a 22-yard run. Great catch here by Josh, kind of in traffic, guy kind of hanging on his back and holding onto his arm, still made a nice catch. And the next one here is Colin Corcoran again. I mean, he's our leading tackler, one of the best in the league at that inside linebacker position. And of course this one, a little play fake that we caught him off guard, which we were hoping to do, and Josh took it in pretty easily for the long touchdown, and I believe it was about 65 yards, so something like that. Travis Frank on this kickoff return. Our kickoff team, he came down here and just smashed this kid, as you can see, and caused that turnover. And again, then we answered that with a Eric Berth touchdown. So here it is, that 2-yard run. Again, sliding in, big body, and finding a way to get in the end zone. And Paul Preston again, we had him at the luncheon last week too, and there's the old Statue of Liberty play. I've been running that here for 20 years, and it's been a lot of fun, and another big gainer for us on that play. And each time we get new coaches, got to reteach it, and it's kind of fun. But we put it into the game last week, and this was the highlight you just saw was Cam Johnson on a little stick route and brought it inside, made the 13-yard touchdown. Paul Preston again. I guess that first one was the I don't know who that one was. Oh, that was Josh's again. I guess that was Josh's catch on that one. Then Paul Preston out on the side on a little screen play, took it down the sideline, and called him out of bounds about the 2-yard line. And then Paul had a couple tries at it. We finally got him in the end zone. I figured this time if he got all the way down there, we might as well let him take it in. He made a nice cut and stuck it in there. And then Carter McCauley is another one of our guests here today, made a nice 35-yard field goal. Wind was a little bit of crosswind, so it was quite a challenge. But went to a couple new return guys this week. Tyler Swinford and Andrew Spencer back there, just getting a little bit more speed. And here you can see Tyler Swinford. He didn't play the first couple games with a little patellar tendon strain, but he's, as you can tell, one of the fastest kids we have in a football team. And here he is now making an interception. So another impact-type player that we finally got back on the field from injuries.
Let's talk a little bit about the offense first, because I know that problems in the red zone have kind of plagued you for part of the season, but 8 or 9 trips to the red zone this time, 8 scores. I mean, that's very incredible.
Well, the last one, the one we didn't get in, I knelt on it. You know, we put it down at the 1-yard line. So we could have went in there at the end of the game, but that's just not who we are. Right. So that's the only time. Otherwise, we really had a perfect day in the red zone, getting points and scoring, and that's something that we haven't done a great job of. You take third downs and the red zone scoring has really been hurting us. And that's why you're kicking 54-yard field goals instead of running in from the 5 or the 4. So our guys responded to that. We've worked hard at it throughout the weeks, and starting to see some of that work show up on a game field.
All right, you talked third downs. Was that the main difference between this game and other games that you played this season, or is there anything different?
I think both that and the red zone scoring. You know, we left a lot of points on the field the last few weeks, and this time, along with, you got to keep drives alive first. You got to get to the red zone, and we did that as well. And you know, our statistics are starting to show up, but it's the hard work that we're putting in practice is starting to show up.
And again, Jack Nelson, seems like we talk about him every week, but another 300-yard performance, his 11th of the season. Yeah,
you know, he only played about 3 minutes in the third quarter, so I think he had 1 drive, maybe 2 drives, and then we let Darren Beankin come in, who needed to get some work and get back on the football field. But he's been, you know, Jack's been fantastic. But also to note, the reason he is because we gave up no sacks this week as well, and they had a pretty good defensive front, and our O-line, tight ends, and running backs did a nice job protecting him. And when he has time, he can throw it around the field pretty well.
Let's talk a little bit about the defense then. We saw some of the turnovers that you had, and obviously holding the team to 7 points is pretty good. What was the difference in the defensive play this week?
I just think they were spirited, and we really reduced the package down. I think that, you know, as we talked last week, I think we had too much in, you know, and just, you know, our kids weren't be able to make decisions fast enough. So we really had to reduce the package, be sound, and play hard, fast football. Well, the only way you can do that is know what you're doing. Yeah. And so we reduced it down to where everybody was on the same page, and our, you know, a number of plays where we had 11 guys doing it right really went up. And obviously it was, you see that. I mean, they only had 1 drive in the whole game, and they scored some points, and the rest of the time they were punting or going forward on 4th.
And I guess the last question then for this segment, it was the homecoming game for Concordia St. Paul. Does that make it even better that you're able to beat them on their homecoming?
Well, we didn't win our own, so we're going to go play a couple others. And, you know, it's kind of insulting when people pick you as your homecoming game. But we went up there. It's always been a rival there. And, you know, they had great fireworks and everything was great. And, in fact, I talked with James McNear, an old quarterback that they had. The 2005 team was there. And, you know, we had a lot of battles with those guys back in that time for the championship. And to see those guys was fun for us because I got to know them pretty well. And besides that, you know, we came spirited to play, and we got another one this week at Sioux Falls. So, you know, homecoming, it's just that time of year. You play at a bunch of them, but that just creates better atmosphere because you get a few more people there, and it's a little more fun to play.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. Number 4 ranked Sioux Falls coming, or you're going to Sioux Falls for that game, and we'll talk a little bit about that on the way. But first, let's talk to some of the players for Winona State. Carter McCauley, one of the kickers on the Winona State team, will be our first guest here on the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC.
Get an inside look at the Winona State football program with the Tom Sawyer Show on TV 25. Brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Host Justin Barrientos sits down with the Warriors head coach each week to break down last week's game and to look ahead at WSU's next opponent, as well as chat with Winona State players. Tune in at 4:30 p.m. on Thursdays, 6 p.m. on Fridays, 7 a.m. on Saturdays, and before every Warrior home game for the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC. Brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill.
Join HBC Sports' Extra Point one-camera coverage of high school football and soccer throughout the fall, presented by Lewiston Auto. In addition to our Football Night Crew broadcasts, Extra Point will bring you 8 games from the gridiron and 9 games from the pitch. For the full slate of games, simply visit hbci.com/sports to find out when your team will be on the field. That's Extra Point coverage of HBC Sports presented by Lewiston Auto, all fall, only on TV 25.
Tune in for the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 as a panel of local sports journalists tackle the hottest topics on everything from local high school and collegiate sports to regional discussion about the Twins, Brewers, Vikings, and Packers. With the Power Play Fantasy Football Challenge to the Rant of the Week and NFL Pick'em, The Sports Buzz is fast-paced and sure to entertain. That's new episodes of The Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 with replays only on HBC TV 25. And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. And Coach, we're going to talk special teams now to lead off.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Carter McCauley is with us today, and obviously a couple weeks ago he set 2 new school records and then tied an old record here a couple weeks ago. So he's having a fantastic year kicking the ball for us. And I guess we'll start it out by Carter. What do you kind of attribute going from being a true freshman and kind of stumbling around a little bit last year to now kind of getting back into your own and doing what you thought you could do all along?
A lot of people think that football is just a physical game, but at least in my position, it's probably more mental. And we worked a lot with that in the off season, and then now this season we're working on the mental side of the thing, a lot in the game. And I think that's what I attribute my success to is just working mentally on what I needed to do, and my mental reps is kind of what I focus on. And I think that's what I attribute my success to is just you and me working together and all the other specialists and working on the mental side of things. And
one of the things that Carter does, he's also a great student. He's looking at a pre-med program at Winona State, so you put pre-med in there, you throw football in there, you throw all the other stuff, the mental training that you're doing. How do you balance all that and still be able to control yourself?
Well, I played soccer and football at the same time in high school, and I think that's kind of what helped me is I focused on juggling all that together, and I'm just able to multitask at the same time and just work on that. So I think that's what I focus on, just to work on that. So.
Okay.
Now you said you played football and soccer, but you're all conference in both football and soccer in high school. But you really didn't start out as a football player. I know that most of the guests that we have on here, football has kind of been in their blood since they were little, but you started out in soccer, and you had some coaches come up and say, hey, why don't you be the kicker on the football team as well? Isn't that how that worked?
Yeah, it was after my sophomore season in soccer. They approached me in the weight room, actually, and they're like, hey, why don't you try kicking for the football team? And I'm like, well, I guess I could try doing that. It actually helped, in other aspects of my life too. So I was like, hey, why not give it a shot? And it ended up working out. My junior season ended up going to state, but ended up getting hurt in the state semifinal game. And then we got back into the state tournament and went to the finals and actually won it. So it was actually a very good experience that I had, and then ended up getting recruited. So.
And now you were recruited not only by Winona State, but also by Oregon and Minnesota. You actually went on a trip to Oregon, isn't that correct?
Yeah, well, that was a heck of an experience. They definitely are not short of money there.
All the Nike money out there.
All the Nike money out there, but it was definitely a good experience just to go out there and see what it was like to have that. And I knew that after that trip, I had to go to Winona State because just the different feel that I had when I got to Winona.
Also at Winona State, your sister played soccer here too, and she was a captain on the soccer team just a year ago. What's that like for your family? And being from Owatonna, you're not that far away either. But what's that like? When your family's been used to coming to Winona State with your sister, and then you're here together for a while. How's that been for the McCauley family?
It's been very good. We've definitely gotten a lot closer. Just the trips and everything. My mom went to Winona State for nursing, and my sister went, and now I'm here. And I think it's just a good place where we feel like we're at home. We know the place very well, and just to be able to be here, to be successful here, it just all comes together as a family. So.
Good.
Can you kind of put into words when you're out on the field what you're thinking, or if you're trying not to think at all before you kick, especially when you're facing something like a 40, 50-yard field goal try?
I just try not to think when I'm out in the field. Actually, before I go out and kick, I usually try to find Coach Sawyer, and he usually gives me like a nod or something like that. So that's kind of usually when I tell myself to shut off the thinking and just go out there and kick the ball. And usually what I just try to focus on is just breathing, just getting my breathing down, getting my heart rate down, and just going out and kicking the ball.
Another question I have kind of about preparation is, throughout the week, and people come to practice, they see, the offense out there and the defense out there, and yeah, we work on special teams, but what really do you guys do during the whole practice? Because I don't even know when I coach you.
Not a lot. We do a lot of our stuff before practice, but usually during practice, we usually just mess around, try to get the edge off, especially like on a Thursday or a Friday. We just try to just focus on just having fun and being out there and being little kids, I guess. We throw the ball around a lot. We kick the ball around a lot, and that's usually what we focus on.
This might be a strange question, but can you learn anything by watching NFL games and seeing some kickers struggle, or seeing what they're thinking about on the sidelines before they come up for a kick and maybe even miss one? Is there anything that you can kind of grab from that and say, well, I would do something different in that situation?
Well, I think a lot of people just look at the NFL like, oh, the kicker should make this. It's a 50-yard field goal. The kicker, 50 yards and in, the kicker has to make this. It's just expected of them. But when they miss them, that's when they just go out and attack them. And I think a lot of kickers in the NFL are missing the mental part of the game and are just focusing on, oh, I have to make this. It's expected of me. And I think they need to go back and focus on what they need to do, like mentally. And I think they'll get better. That's what I have, and I think that's what my success is coming from. So I think that's what they need to focus on.
Yeah, the last question I have, Carter, is you're going into another big game this week, and we're on the road and those kind of things. And what do you have to do when we're on the road to get used to a new facility, new stadium? They have brand new turf at this facility, so that'll be a little bit different. What are some of the things that you like to go through in preparation for when we're on the road?
For me, it's the first thing I focus on is just how long the turf is. The turf length actually plays a big factor. What the wind is like, the wind can play a big factor in what I have to focus on, especially at both ends of the field. And also just how I feel on the field. When we went into Concordia, the field felt shorter to me, which actually felt pretty good. So I just have to get a feel of what the field feels like to me.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you, Carter, for joining us on the show, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show, and when we come back, we'll talk with Josh Mikes, one of the wide receivers, right after this. The Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub and Grill.
HBC Sports is your exclusive home for Winona State soccer and volleyball for the 2015 season. Whether you prefer spikes and sets on the court or goals and saves on the pitch, if it's happening with Warriors volleyball or soccer, HBC has you covered. For the full broadcast schedule, simply visit hbci.com/sports to find out when each match will be featured live. That's Winona State soccer and volleyball all season long, only on TV 25.
We chose HBC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HBC advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802.
Join HBC Sports' Extra Point one-camera coverage of high school football and soccer throughout the fall, presented by Lewiston Auto. In addition to our Football Night Crew broadcasts, Extra Point will bring you 8 games from the gridiron and 9 games from the pitch. For the full slate of games, simply visit hbci.com/sports to find out when your team will be on the field. That's Extra Point coverage of HBC Sports presented by Lewiston Auto, all fall, only on TV 25.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show, and time now to talk a little offense.
Yeah, it's really fun. We have Josh Mikes here. Josh, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
One of our top players in history at the wide receiver position, and in top 10 in many categories, and had a big week again this week, got in the end zone. And so my first question, Josh, is what did it feel like to get up to Concordia and really explode offensively?
Oh, it felt great. Coach, you challenged us this week. You kind of told us early on in the week that we've been playing a little uninspired on the offensive side of the football, and he's very blunt about it, but he's saying true things. And we sat down and talked later in the week, just catching up and stuff. We hadn't talked in a little while, and we both just kind of talked about going out and having fun, playing like a kid, getting back on track with what we do as an offense, and making those explosive plays and making some plays downfield and doing things like that. So it felt great to have that talk with Coach later on in the week and go out there and put the product on the field that we wanted to see and have some success. It felt good.
You talked about uninspired football, and sometimes we hear coaches say something like, well, the team didn't come to play today. And outsiders might think, how can that happen? That's what you do. You go out and you play. When you find yourself in that situation, what's the difference between that and a normal day?
Well, the difference, hopefully is a win. When you're playing, inspired football and doing things right, hopefully it's a win. Sometimes, you can still be on the opposite end of that, when you are playing well. But, when you're playing uninspired and there's not much leadership going on and the sidelines, you can kind of just see it in people's faces. They're not 100% into the game. They're not confident. We played with confidence this weekend as an offense, and that's something that we've been lacking offensively and as a football team in the past couple of weeks. So just playing with confidence, playing inspired and coming out and putting numbers up. It's big. It's a big step for us. Coach was talking about going good to great. He said in the Sunday meeting we went from good to better, not great yet, which we all agree with. We still have a lot of steps to make, a lot of things to do to be in the right position. We have a big game this weekend against Sioux Falls, so we just got to keep rolling, have a great week of practice. We'll be all right.
And one of the things Justin mentioned earlier was a red zone play, and obviously we went in every time we were there except the kneel down. But you were a big part of that. We've moved you around from 3 different positions on the field and moving across and motions. When you guys get into that 30, 40-yard line, what changes with the receivers as far as the mentality?
Well, that's just the scoring zone. We know we need to make plays all around the field, make long plays when we have that opportunity. But when we get down into that red zone, the true red zone that it is on the field, we know we have to make plays, we have to score, we have to go up and get the ball. We have to sacrifice our body if they throw something up in the end zone. You make that catch, you don't feel those hits as much. So when you're able to do things like that, and our team's rolling, the receivers played well. I think we had 9 guys or something like that catch at least 1 pass this week. So everyone can rotate at that position, and down in that area of the field, we can still rotate with everyone. We don't have a designated receiver who needs to be out on the field at that time. So when we're rolling, it's great.
Now, as a senior receiver and as someone who Coach says, one of the top receivers in program history, obviously opposing coaches and players know that about you coming into it. When you get like double coverage or when you're getting more attention, how do you adjust to that, and how do you try to have a good game when you have that against you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's something that I'm aware of coming into the game, that teams might try and double me or do things like that to take away my production on the field. That just opens up the opportunity for other people to produce as well. And like I said, we rotate, we have depth at the wide receiver position. So if I'm getting double covered or teams are doing things like that, Allen will be open, or Cam will be open, or Dylan, or Fritz, or whoever it is, it doesn't matter. So still just running the routes that I'm supposed to run in that position, and if it takes 2 guys on me and opens up another guy and they score, it's a big play or whatever, I feel just as good about that as if I were to make the play myself. So
another question I have, and we talked about it on the show almost every week, but the opportunities that you've had, in the off season, last spring getting tested by the NFL, and now you got scouts in and those kind of things, and that does play a big role in anybody's life when they got every day is an interview. But what's that really been like for you, and share with the folks about when you got the NFL watchdogs all over you?
Yeah, that's definitely, it's been a great experience. I can't lie, it's been a great experience talking to all those teams that have come in and spent some time with me. I appreciate all them coming down and talking to me, and it's nice to know that I'm noticed and might have a shot at the next level playing football. Still, my main focus, is it's Winona football, and it's college football. It's the best time, regardless if I'm able to play at the next level. I truly think this will be the best experience playing football in my life. Just with the friends I've made, and Winona State itself, and what it means to me, and all that. Once you get to that next level, it's a business. It's not. You don't have that. You do have the camaraderie, but it's not the same as when you're with your college buddies and you're out there playing on Saturdays. But if I'm able to make that next step, that's definitely something I'd be very excited to do and hopefully succeed at. But right now, it's just focused on Winona State football, and you got a big game against Sioux Falls. They got some of the best corners in the league, definitely, and maybe even in the nation. So got to go out and have a good game against them.
I'm sure people watching have noticed that you have something on your hand there. What happened to you?
Yeah, I sprained my thumb, so it's nothing too serious. Just got to wear this for a few weeks, and just makes catching the ball a little more difficult. But it's a challenge at the same time. So I was able to catch all right on Saturday for our game, and I just got to keep working with it through practice and doing the right things, icing and rehabbing and all that stuff. So,
well, the last question I have for you, Josh, is you're out there with Dylan and Alan May and you and now Fritz Rock as well. You got all these seniors out here. How tight has that been over the years, especially with the other 3 guys?
Oh, it's like I said, talked about a little bit ago. It's a brotherhood, and it truly is. I was roommates with Dylan Holford's my freshman year in the dorms, and we live together now. We've been living together for 2 years now. Same with Tyler Swinford. He came in with us, and he was playing receiver, bouncing around a DB back and forth. You know, that's another true brother I have. And Alan, same thing, came in with Alan. You know, Fritz is the newest guy, but he molded right in, and he fit right in.
Old.
Yeah, he's the newest guy, but the oldest guy. Yeah, I think he was probably about 10 years old or so when I was born. So, but no, he comes in, and just like all the guys in the program, you know, they just fit the mold perfectly, and they just jump in, and it's like he's been here the whole time. So.
All right, Josh, thank you for joining us, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
All right, now as Josh said, big game coming up this weekend. We're going to talk to Coach Sawyer about this game against Sioux Falls coming up in the next segment of the Tom Sawyer Show. The Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub and Grill. Tune in for the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 as a panel of local sports journalists tackle the hottest topics on everything from local high school and collegiate sports to regional discussion about the Twins, Brewers, Vikings, and Packers. With the Power Play Fantasy Football Challenge to the Rant of the Week and NFL Pick'em, the Sports Buzz is fast-paced and sure to entertain. That's new episodes of the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 with replays only on HBC TV 25.
Look at the brows on that.
That's a hog, man.
Welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. Next week, it is number 4 Sioux Falls. You're on the road once again before you come back on the 17th against Upper Iowa. But against Sioux Falls, now I ask you this every time that there's a nationally ranked opponent coming in. I mean, do you approach games any differently when it's a nationally ranked opponent?
Not really. I mean, your work week is exactly the same. You know, it's different pictures. You know, you're looking at a new team and evaluating their tendencies and their players and their style and those kind of things. And we've gotten to know them pretty well now. They've been in the league for a while now. So Jeb and I are good friends, and he does a great job out there with Sioux Falls, and they've grown a lot in a short amount of time, although they did have a lot of success in NAIA as well. So that was expected, and I'm glad they are. It's made our league better by them coming in. But your preparation is the same. We just got to go out and really continue to focus on us and to make sure we're doing things right to give us the best chance and see if we can keep the game in a position where we have a chance to win it.
Now, Josh Mikes in the last segment said that you told them they went from good to better and not good to great. What do they need to do to get to great?
Well, the one thing is you got to win big games. You just have to, and you have to play well in big games. And we've been a little sporadic, and you can tell in the 2 losses we had against St. Cloud at home, we handled the game well until the last quarter, and in fact, the last 6 minutes. So it's just one of those things that's closing it out. You got to play 60 full minutes of football, and you have to do it right the whole time. So we're moving, we're taking steps, we're getting better and better throughout the year in all facets of the game. But we haven't put that one big game together yet. Against Concordia, we did at a time, but it was also a blowout game. So you also get it's different. You get a chance for other kids to play, and your game kind of shuts down. But against a team like Sioux Falls, where they're ranked right now, they beat Duluth. They got things on a roll out there. For us to be in a game and be positioned, we got to be ready to play 60 minutes.
So Sioux Falls is 5-0. From what you've seen, how have they been able to do that?
Well, they've been doing it in all parts. They have a very good return game, so they're winning the field position battle. Their front 4 or front 7 is very good. So defensively, they've been very good. Them and Mankato are probably the 2 best defenses in the league, and they got the Solomon kid. He's a great player at corner. He's got like 5 picks already or more, and so they have stars at every level, and so that's what they've been doing. They've been scoring on defense. In fact, against Duluth in the second drive, they took a INT for a touchdown to open up the scoring, and against Duluth. So that was one of those things that they're doing, is scoring on all different levels, and good teams do that, and they find ways to do that, and so we have to try to stay away from those big plays.
All right, and then coming up on Thursday, you have your weekly luncheon?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. After the homecoming game last week, it was a lot of fun, and now at the Warriors, we got another win under our belt and rolling along. We hope that more and more people come out and just meet our players just like this. have a chance to meet those guys and watch the highlights and have some fun.
And what's the cost of that?
$9. Yeah, $9 at the Riverport Inn. So it's a great lunch.
And that's Thursday at noon.
At noon.
I believe. All right. Well, hopefully you'll join Coach Sawyer for that, and hopefully next week we'll be able to talk about a big win over a nationally ranked team against Sioux Falls.
That would be awesome.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week here on the Tom Sawyer Show.